Well, it looks like that good weather has finally set in. I am looking at blue, clear skies right now. I think it's supposed to be a high of 29. And of course, when this weather starts to set in, I'm thinking about swimming and I'm thinking about the pool that I have in the backyard. I'm pretty fortunate. The house that my wife and I bought in St. Thomas 8 years ago, almost 8 years ago, has an above ground pool in it. It's not something we were really looking for, but we were quite happy to have a house with a pool. And of course, with having a house with a pool, there is a whole lot of ramp up of learning that you got to get happening quickly in order for you to be able to, keep the chemicals right and clean the pool and filter it and all those types of things. And it reminded me of a story a couple of years back where I was trying to fill up my pool. See, every year in the fall, I would lower my pool a little bit so that the return would not have water in it and get frozen up, and or the plumbing and so on and so forth as well. So I'd lower the level of the water, and then in the spring I would have to fill it back up once I connected everything. So I'd hooked up a hose to fill up the pool after hooking all my plumbing and everything up, and I let it fill up for a few hours. And when it was, tickety boo, the right level, I shut the water off, and I unhooked the hose from the faucet and just left it laying on the ground. And went and turned my filter pump on, and it began to filter water and circulate. I'm like, woohoo, we're almost there. We'll get the chemicals balanced out tomorrow. We should be good. And I went in the house, went to bed. Next morning, I got up and I went out on the deck just to make sure that the pool was okay. And to my shock and dismay, the water level was down about 6 inches from where I had left it the night before. You can imagine what's going on in my mind at this point. Instantaneous panic. And so I'm looking to see if I can see if there's bubbles coming up anywhere, to see if there's a leak in the liner. And I'm kind of looking around the edge of the pool real quick to see if there's anything that's any holes that I can see there. I'm looking at the plumbing. I'm looking at the filter pump. I'm looking at the sand filter. Nothing. And of course, I have to go to work now. I've got a few minutes to get to work, drive into London, to the center here, and I'm anxious all day. I had called my wife partway through the day and said, "Hey, take a picture of the area around the return on the pool," because I had an idea of how far below the return the water level was when I left. Well, to my additional shock and dismay, my wife sends me a picture, and the water level is down another 2 inches. And so now I'm really panicking. I'm like, oh man, I hope this thing will just stop leaking. And I can't do anything about it while I'm at work. So I'm talking to the pool store, seeing if they have any ideas. They've suggested all the same things that I've already done. And I get home that night and the pool level's even lower, and I'm just like freaking out about it. Um, and I happen to walk out to the side of my house where the hose was. And the hose, the end of the hose that's no longer connected to the faucet, has water just pouring out of it. Well, of course, the other end of that hose is still in the pool. And when I turned the filter pump on, the circulation of the water created enough pressure that it pushed some water out the other end of the hose that wasn't connected, that's laying by the side of the house. And of course, that creates a vacuum. And of course, as a result of that, water has been pouring out all night long and all through the day, and I just didn't know it. Simple solution: go and grab the hose out of the pool, take it out, no more leaking of water. And that got me thinking about when the well runs dry. It got me thinking about the way that many of us have been functioning for 12 or 13 weeks in like a higher gear than we ever have before. And we have been struggling maybe with feeling like we have anything left to give. Our compassion level is down, our mercy level is down, our ability to not get frustrated with some of those clients that are very, very difficult, that ability is kind of evaporating. And it got me thinking about the fact that our lives, in our lives, we have a capacity to be able to hold only so much and give away only so much. And when the well runs dry, what do we have left? What do we give from? You see, what I know about my pool is as long as I had a hose in it that was connected to a faucet, I could turn the water on at any time and the pool would fill back up. And of course, it would continue to fill until it overflowed. And then, of course, if I turned the water off, it would stay where it's at. But it's like having a second hose when we're ministering to people, loving on people, trying to show people grace and mercy and compassion, and trying to show them that they're valuable. It's like having a hose that's sticking out of the pool and the water's draining out. And eventually, when the water drains out, we've got nothing left to give. And I think what's happened is over the last 13 weeks, for some of us, we've gotten tired. And in becoming tired, some of our disciplines have begun to slip. One of which might be just spending time quietly in prayer and asking God to refill us every day, to give us the strength and the capacity that we need in order to meet people. And when we get tired, we forget to do that. We say, oh, I'm just going to, sleep an extra 15 minutes a day. I'm not going to get up and spend some time with God. I'm not going to pray. Or, you know what, I'm so tired today, I'm just going to drive to work and I'm going to listen to music instead of spending some time talking to God. You see, in order for us to be at capacity, we need to be connected to the source all the time. Because if we're not connected to the source, the well is going to run dry. Jesus, in speaking to his disciples one time, said this. He said, I am the true vine, my Father is the vine dresser. Every branch in me that does not bear fruit, he takes away, and every branch that does not bear fruit, he prunes, that it might bear more fruit. Already you are clean because of the word I have spoken to you. Abide in me, and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit by itself unless it abides in the vine, neither can you unless you abide in me. I am the vine, you are the branches. Whoever abides in me and I in him, he it is that bears much fruit, and apart from me he can do nothing. Some powerful words from Jesus. Jesus basically is saying that unless we are connected to the vine, we will not bear fruit. It was interesting one day when I was spending some time in prayer, I was kind of meditating on this particular passage, and in my mind's eye, I got this picture of a vine and a branch coming off the vine. And it's clear to me that the vine was beginning to bear fruit because I could see the grapes on the vine. And yet I saw nothing that was actually causing, visibly the grapes to grow. And then it was kind of, God took me to another place in a moment, and God kind of showed me this invisible pulse where life was coming from the vine into the branches and extending all the way out and causing the fruit to grow. It was a really powerful moment for me because I realized that as long as I was staying connected to God and allowing him to be my source of strength, that I would be able to do what he called me to do every day, that I would have capacity. This line that Jesus says, I think is very poignant, very important. It's the one who abides in me and I in him. He is the one that bears much fruit. For apart from me, you can do nothing. Let me ask you, are you today in a place where you're feeling burnt out, tired, stressed, anxiety, like you got nothing left to give, and you're just looking forward to the weekend because you're not going to have to work? Are you just looking forward to that next vacation time so that you can get away from all of this because you're done? If the answer to that is yes, I want to ask you the question, how connected are you to the vine? As one of the branches, are you connected? Are you receiving life and sustenance from God spiritually that will allow you to bless everyone else? Maybe it's time to spend some time with God today and ask him for a recharge. Maybe you're a person who is connected and you're not so tired. I just want to remind you, don't give up the connection. Stay connected to God. God is the one who will continually give us what we need to a point of overflowing. His source of strength is always enough, and he will always give us more, enough to get through. I'm going to challenge you today, reconnect to the vine that you might bear much fruit. Have a good one, guys.